Hi, my name is Michael Williams. Have you ever met someone that loves to argue? If you say up, they're going to say down. If you say left, they're going to say right. No matter what you say, they're going to want to argue with you. Have you ever met anyone like that? Are you like that? Well, we're going to look at in this 8-part series why people argue and how to stop arguing or how to stop arguments. Now, this doesn't mean that we don't need to have disagreements. But what it does mean is that many, if not most of the arguments we have are completely unnecessary. And what they do is they create what I call a relationship environment that's very uncomfortable, it's very stressful, and it's not fun, and it can cause relationships to go like this and eventually die. So it's very important that when we don't have to argue, that we don't. And there are some very specific things, some very practical things that you and I can do to stop most arguments dead in their track. So in this 8-part series, we'll be looking at first, why people argue, and then second, how to stop arguing. And I like to call this series Stop the Hunt, right? That's going to help us remember each of the parts. So in this first part where we look at 4 reasons why people argue, those 4 reasons are going to spell the word hunt. H-U-N-T. So in this video, we're going to look at the H. In the next video, we'll look at the U, and then the N and the T. Then, in the second part of this entire series, we're going to look at the S.T.O.P. That is, how to stop arguing. Does that make sense? So, let me just share with you. Now, I've been married for over 22 years. I'm only 44 years old at the recording of this video. The information that I'm going to be sharing with you in these videos is not just stuff that I read, not just stuff that I learned, but these are things that I use every day in my own relationship. But not just that. I've been teaching and I've been working as a relationship coach for the past several years, and I've taught thousands of people. And here are some of the things that people have said about these strategies that I'm going to be sharing with. They have come in and told me that it's helped them stop arguing as much as they were. So not only do I think it works, but many of the people that I've taught or shared with have also agreed that these things work. So that's what we're going to be sharing with you in the next 8 sessions. So let's jump right in and get started. We're going to look at the H, which is one of the reasons why we argue. Now, watch this. When I say reason, I'm not talking about what we argue about, okay? I'm not talking about the things that we argue about, like family, finances, the house, the kids. I'm talking about why we argue. So one of the reasons that we argue is because of habit. Starts with an H, right? Habit. Sometimes, some people grow up in an environment where their parents and their siblings argue all the time. So they have learned a pattern or habit of communicating that includes what? Arguing and disagreeing. So they think that that's the way it is, that that's the way they should communicate. Does that make sense? Or they've learned that arguing is okay from previous relationships, right? Somehow they've been conditioned, or because of the interaction between that person and them, they've learned that it's important to argue, right? To stand up, that they need to stand up for themselves, and the way to do that is to argue. So one reason that people argue is out of habit. It's a learned pattern of behavior. Now here's the good news. Because it is a learned pattern of behavior, it means, now watch this, that they can unlearn it, or that they can learn a new pattern of communicating. Makes sense. That's the great news about it. All right, in the next video, we're going to look at the U in H-U-N-T. So, my name is Michael Williams, and I'll see you in the next video.